The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 7th day of June, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with Michaela Ann. Thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one to begin the week, as we have Cesa Edwards and Lloyd stopping by from Soft Lending to discuss their new business and relocation to Bermuda. The Daily Play is a Who Said It, so Michaela is guessing the author of a famous quote. But, Kales, we have a new intro this morning, right?
Yes, we do.
And it looks like we have a lot of fun,
huh? This is like beyond fun. Like this whole 1 hour like sets the tone for my day. So it's like we gotta have the energy, we gotta have the vibes, and it's a good time.
I agree. And hopefully, like she said, set the energy, set the tone for the day, the week. You saw her moving her hands in those videos. There's no audio, so you just guarantee she was putting me in my place. But one of our guests for the day, Cesa Edwards, I saw her in the backstage bumping. I'm like, the music is working. The music is working.
Yes.
So that's new music we've had for a few weeks now. Really wanted to wake you all up. But how was your weekend, Kales? Anything fun?
Oh, I didn't do anything. It was actually quite relaxing. Last weekend was like a bit much because we did like a staycation with the kids. And so, of course, when you're doing a staycation at the beach or at the pool, you have to be like on the whole time, right? So this week, Jason and I, we just chilled. Like it was chill time, wonderful. Tried a new rosé that was like absolutely amazing. And just relax. It was great. What about you?
My weekend was pretty much all work. Look, when my wife's away, I kind of just don't do anything. So it's just work. And so she did a wedding up in New Jersey this weekend. So it was literally just chilling and working and just going outside for a jog. I realized that I really cannot deal with the heat.
No, it's too much. Like I went walking on the trails yesterday morning. I left home 8:35. And it was nice. But as I got to the end, I was like, okay. It's hot. And that's what I was just going to say. Like yesterday was 81 degrees. So yesterday I had to switch from regular coffee to iced coffee because it's hot. Like, I'm sitting here like, oh my God, like when did this happen? Because it wasn't this hot last week or week. Actually, no, last week was pretty hot. But week before, no. Like I could comfortably sit and sip my coffee. No, it's hot.
I wonder if Liana's going to have some good news and relates to the weather as well, if it's going to be cool or not. But I did forget something I did do this weekend. I did, again, wife away, so I had time, right? I had a lot of time. So I did follow the Bermuda game on Friday night.
Yes.
And on Saturday, I watched the Nothing for Nothing documentary. Quick, so let's ask the audience, actually. Did anyone watch either the Bermuda and Suriname football game on Friday night, or have you watched the Nothing for Nothing documentary as of yet? Kales, did you watch the game or the doc yet?
I watched part of the documentary, and one of the things that I loved about it, and I know this is kind of like superficial, but I'm going to say it anyway. I love the heavy, thick Bermudian accents.
No.
I love it because I feel like, and I'm guilty of this, watering the accent down. And I will say I water my accent down because I grew up in Massachusetts.
Right.
So I was 12 when we left Bermuda, and I lived in the US for 10 years, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it's not consciously switching the way that I talk. It's just I grew up on the East Coast, so I tend to
Right.
have more of like generic. But I love the thick Bermudian accent. Like that just it makes me so happy. It makes me
Yeah.
smile when I hear it that they were just like, I'm Bermudian, this is who I am. I'm not gonna make it easy for you to understand me, quote unquote, you know?
At 12 years old, because I don't know where I read this, so don't quote me as if I'm speaking from an expert perspective, folks.
Uh-huh.
But I was told that between the ages of 10 and 14, if a
Mhm.
child moves from to a different space,
Yeah.
chances are their accent may change because of their
Mhm.
surroundings. Whereas someone who's 18 maybe and moves to
Yeah.
a different space, their accent is pretty much instilled. It's probably not going to leave
Yeah.
where they are. But it's interesting that's what you pick up because to me, I don't think it's superficial. That's something I absolutely loved about that documentary.
Yes.
Let me tell you what I loved. What I loved about it is everything, and this may hurt some people's feelings. What I loved about that documentary is what other Bermudas, and notice I'm not saying other Bermuda because we're
Mhm.
not going to sit here and act like there's two Bermudas. If you want
No,
to
of
say
course
there's two
not.
Bermudas, then there's 3 and 4 Bermudas,
Of
right?
course.
So what I'm saying is what it represented was the Bermuda I knew. I
Yeah.
grew up in it didn't represent the stuff that you see so in traditionally tourism,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
This was a
I agree.
Bermuda that many people could relate to. And so I would bet that there's a group of people who invest a lot of money in Bermuda that may say, uh-oh, that's not what we want to show. That's not the Bermuda that we've always shown. And so to me,
Which is unfortunate
it's
if
very
they think that
unfortunate,
way.
but it was one of the most authentic pieces I've seen reflect Bermuda. And I can't wait for my wife to watch it with me so she can even see a part of Bermuda like that I don't think she even knows exists.
Right. And that's the thing about it. Like I mean, as someone who's been in like the media marketing space for a really long time, it's always frustrated me that this, depiction of Bermuda that we put out isn't actually realistic.
Mhm.
And I mean, even to this day, there are, I'm not going to name businesses or companies, but recently, as of last week or over the weekend, I saw ads for rose type stuff because this coming weekend is Rose Day. And it's all white people. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, this doesn't really make sense to me. So seeing that
Yeah.
and seeing my people, and it was just honestly beautiful. It's just, yeah, I loved it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and this is again, I appreciate your bluntness because it makes me feel like okay, we're comfortable in a comfortable space. But Michaela actually brought it up, and I'm just gonna extend it. Like again, this is a Black Bermuda. This
Yeah.
is a Bermuda that is not often shared. It's always you speak about watering down accent. We've always whitewashed who we are.
Yeah.
Right? So I appreciated that perspective, and it wasn't a negative thing. It was like, look, you've got people who have come from hard situations, and this is a way out, right?
Exactly.
If people don't know this, they're thinking, oh, if you don't make it in Bermuda, you're just a bad person, or you're this or that. No, no,
Right.
no, no. Now, one of the other things that really stood out to me, the facilities, the things that they had to work with. Now, again, I'm not saying they need $1 million facilities, but
Right.
when you look at hockey and even swimming and diving, and then you can look at football and cricket, the money that's been invested. Now, I think there's a case. Bermuda has only had one medal in the
Yep.
Olympics, and it was
Yep.
boxing, right? Through
Yep.
Clarence Hill.
Absolutely.
We've invested millions of dollars into so many other sports,
Yep.
right? And again, this is not a knock on football, cricket, or hockey, or swimming, or diving. It's not a knock. But how have we not put a greater focus on
Yeah.
the one thing that the island has had success in?
Yeah. And that's the thing about it. Like, it's always funky because I remember as a child, you learn all about the Olympics and Bermuda athletes. If you're lucky, if you have a teacher who wants to teach you these things, because we know that we don't learn a lot about Bermuda in school, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing the story of Clarence Hill and all of this. And I always was just like, so why has this not been celebrated? Like when, I mean, it's not sports, but like when Gina Swainson won Miss World, there was a whole parade and a Gina Swainson Day. Did any of that happen for Clarence Hill? I mean, this was all before I was born, but basically what I know is that none of that happened. None of that happened. And I mean, is it because he was a Black man?
Well, you know.
You know what I mean? Like, we have to be real about it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and mince my words or sugarcoat it, but, you know, if this had been a white man doing sailing, maybe there would have been a whole day parade or something. Maybe there would have been a national holiday. Maybe there would be a statue of that person. Just saying.
I mean, I'll put it to you like this here. And I at this point, if it offends, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But we have celebrated in my lifetime more mediocrity and I'm gonna use two examples for you.
Okay.
We celebrate participating in the Gold Cup of football.
Yeah.
An accomplishment, but you ain't win nothing.
Yeah.
We celebrate the greatest catch you will ever witness in cricket, but forget about the actual result of the game.
Yep.
This is not me picking on anybody. This is real.
Right.
This is real. And so, as I stated on my personal Facebook, Clarence Hill is still alive. There's time to make this right.
Absolutely.
This is time to make it right. Now, one of the things, somebody just put it here, Crystal Talbot says, good morning. I've experienced no lights at the stadium to track and field athletes. You know, when that came up in the video, they were up there training with no lights.
I don't understand. I don't understand, because there are other sports that are historically another kind of person, and there's funding.
Indeed. Emma Richardson says, the most beautiful thing, I believe the fighter Roach said, he's fighting to see the light in the younger one's eyes. They see so much darkness. That hits so deep.
That's beautiful.
I want to transition. We have to transition real quickly, but in the same light, Bermuda took a very hard loss, right? It was a six-pack.
Yeah.
And they took 6 to Suriname. The question to the audience, and I'm going to ask you, Kales, as well, and I'll give my verdict. The question to the audience today, is the criticism of the Bermuda national team, is it too much? Do they deserve the criticism that they're receiving? What do you think, Kales?
I think that Bermudians are very critical of each other. We are. I will never forget, I want to say it was 2008. Yes, because I was pregnant. When we played Trinidad at home after we beat Trinidad in Trinidad. And I remember people booing up and down the stadium. And I remember as I was walking out, of course we lost. I can't remember what the result was. But I remember walking out of the stadium and there was a little boy and he was making off, calling the players dumb, calling the team dumb. And his daddy was encouraging it. And it took all of me not to be like, why are you encouraging your son to spew negativity about our national team? Because that was just so distasteful and poor to me. And so even now, we look at our team, we didn't have any, to my recollection, I could be wrong. I don't believe that we had any professional players. These guys haven't been playing regularly because COVID. The Suriname team had, if I'm not mistaken, 2 professional players, one that plays in the Netherlands and one that plays, I can't remember where the other one was, or maybe both of them play in the Netherlands. So I just don't feel like you can compare a team where there are professional players playing in Europe to a Bermuda team, which is amateur because our players are not playing football full time. Not to mention, have they even had the training? Do they have the resources? Because we know there usually aren't resources, or it's underfunded. So I get the frustration, but at the same time, why are we criticizing when our guys showed up and tried their best in the circumstances? It's not as though we had players come in from England. Again, maybe 1 or 2 did. I could be wrong, but I know Nicky Wells didn't come in, right?
No, he nor the young man Critchlow didn't come, but the goalkeeper does play in England.
Dale, right?
Yeah.
Dale Eve. Okay.
Well,
but yeah.
Mary Lee Watson says yes to the question. Bermudians being too critical. Bobby Sumner says it's par for the course, man. Let's be real. It's sports. Michelle White says yes, we are generally very critical. To do so now is especially sad due to COVID impacting on training. So the question is, folks, do you think Bermudians are a bit too critical of the result for the Bermuda national football team? Here's where I'm coming from. I honestly don't think that they're too critical, the Bermudian people.
Okay.
I don't, and I'll tell you why. I actually agree with Sumner where he's saying it's par for the course. At the end of the day, the result was 6-0, right?
Yeah.
Now, Bermuda's beat, I think, maybe Cayman Islands 13 something years ago, this and that. I was speaking to someone last night and they said to me, Jamal, I hear what you're saying, that they just haven't had time to practice and due to COVID and all of that. I get that. But they all have the option to kind of do individual stuff. At the end of the day, no two people are going to agree on whether or not we should be critical or not. But I think criticism is helpful. I think, as I stated, I get people who are saying, oh, enough of this, well done, good effort, oh, this was bad, da, da, da. I don't necessarily agree with that. I agree that, look, we didn't get the result we wanted. No, let's wake up, go train hard, right? And let's get back to that next game and come even harder. Like,
yeah,
I believe, look, I was that kind of player as a child. I'm playing until I can't play no more, meaning I'm putting my body on the line. I'm getting injured. I'm watching basketball yesterday, and this Blake Griffin guy, diving out there, a guy who's had injuries in his life. That's what I want to see. Because what you lack in talent, for me, makeup and heart, grit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I did see that Bahamas beat Trinidad, and so Trinidad isn't going on to the next round, which I thought was interesting. And then back to your point about, okay, if we can't train because of COVID, what can you do by yourself? So I don't know if he's still doing this, but I remember last year, Nicky Wells was training by himself. Like he was staying fit because he was posting it on his Instagram stories every day or however many times a week that he was working out. But I do think that we can't compare Nicky Wells, whose sole job is to show up and score goals, to our amateur players in Bermuda who also have jobs.
Right.
So that's like the difficulty of it, right? But I agree with you in terms of have grit, have heart. I don't know what it's like to play on a national level for my country because I stopped athletics years ago. But I would like to think that I would go out there and try to give 100%, because it's country pride.
We have to run, but I want to say this. I'm not saying that players weren't out there giving their all. Let me just repeat. What I'm saying is, at the end of the day, sometimes you step in the ring, it's an uphill climb. It's an uphill battle. Some people have mentioned in the comments, and I read this whole article about Trinidad and Bahamas. Trinidad, Jamaica, places like these, Costa Rica, they've made the World Cup. The expectations are greater. There's more money into it. They have more professionals, right? Here's the thing that may upset some people. I think as a country, we believe that we're better than we are.
Yes.
I think that's the harsh reality. We think we're better than we are. Like, I witness us Bermudians, like, in conversations with people from other countries where, they're not known, or football or cricket are not their main sports. And we talked up, but hold on, there's a way bigger countries who have people, they make the World Cups at these sports. They get to the highest level. Let's go to some comments and then bring Lee in, actually. Mary Lee Watson says, let's see how they play tomorrow. Yes, when there's such close games in between, you want to keep the criticism constructive and encouraging. Terry Too Cool says, if the criticism is constructive, then it should be received positively. Graham Smith, Kills.
Too critical, very young team, missing captain Dante Laverack. Exactly.
I agree. However, I wouldn't agree with missing captain Dante Laverack. They're not missing him. He's retired. He's done. So you can't be missing someone that's no longer there. That's not an excuse. I wouldn't agree necessarily with that last part. Too critical. very young team, yeah, I'm with you.
I mean, they could be missing him in terms of
leadership.
He was their leader. He rallied them, and now they're kind of like, I get that.
Okay.
I get that.
Fair point. Fair point. Wesley Robinson.
This topic of sports is a deep one. We have talent, and it's not cultivated across the board. Now, you play a game, you get what comes with it, but you can't blame the players, blame the system. That's a really good point. Interesting perspective.
Michelle Smith says Dante Leverock was a miss in the defense. It was a surprise to have him retire in the lead up to the game. Absence of pro athletes was also a big miss. I would concur. I would agree. The absence of the pro athletes is huge. Janae Pereira Ednas, it's unfortunate that the domestic league had to stop. Let's bring in Lee, see what she's thinking on this. Lee, what's your thoughts on the criticism of the national team after last Friday?
Good morning, first and foremost.
Hey,
oh, wow. Welcome to the family
today.
Wow.
I had to say that first. That was first and foremost. But good morning, guys. Okay, so I am a little bit in the middle when it comes to this topic. Yes, I do sometimes believe that Bermudians can be critical, and especially, when we're looking at our players on a national stage. However, also I believe that, these players, while we want them to train on their own, we're talking about a team sport, right? And we're talking about synergy when on the field. So yes, it's great to keep yourself active and be fit when on the field. However, having played team sports in the past, I know that, it also comes with, having that energy, that synergy together, and making sure that you guys are gelling on the field. You see what I'm saying? So I'm a little bit in between, but sorry.
That's a good point, and crazy enough, I'm not afraid to admit I didn't even think about it. This is probably many of them's first time playing together. They haven't had that time to gel. So yeah, no. Well, the ladies in the room are always the voice of reasons. Me, folks. So let's get to the news break. After that, we have the folks from Soft Lending coming up. And I actually might go off topic and ask Lloyd, because he's a former footballer. I'm saying former because I think he's retired at this point. After you go a certain age, you can only do so much. But Lee, over to you. Lloyd and Cesa after.
Oh,
gosh, yeah, you do that. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go to the news break. You guys got me all over the place.
Thanks, Jamela, Michaela, and good morning to everyone that's tuned in with us. I hope everyone had a great weekend and is ready for the upcoming week. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for the Daily Hour News Break. Now, taking a look at what took place over the weekend. First round, Bermuda government won, constitutional freedom Bermuda nil. On Friday, a Supreme Court bid for a temporary block on the introduction of a controversial COVID-19 regulation to force non-vaccinated residents who returned from overseas to pay for quarantine in a hotel was rejected. After a 2.5-hour hearing, Chief Justice Marinder Hargan dismissed the application and said he would give his reasons in writing later this week. Now, Mark Pettingill, the lawyer who appeared for the three applicants, asked for an interim injunction to have the regulation temporarily shelved. He argued that the case was in the public interest, that the applicants would suffer irreparable harm if the regulation was enforced, and that the rights of the individuals to freedom of movement overrode public safety fears. Now, he said, quote, "We are the only place in the world that has been able to find that has made a distinction between the vaccinated and the unvaccinated," end quote. But Dalroy Duncan for the government highlighted similar cases in Canada where opponents to mandatory quarantine in approved centers had their challenges thrown out. He argued that the applicants had failed to demonstrate that they would suffer irreparable harm because none of them had shown that they actually intended to travel in the near future. Now, in the end, although the court was not minded to grant the application for interim injunctive relief, it did grant the application for an expedited hearing on the matter. The Chief Justice added that a substantive hearing on the case would be held next month. However, a date is yet to be set. Now, meanwhile, the government announced over the weekend that the mandatory hotel quarantine at their own expense for non-immunized travelers to Bermuda would now come into force on June 13th, a week later than the proposed date. A group of 7 wealthy democracies agreed on Friday to support a global minimum corporate tax rate of at least 15% in order to deter multinational companies from avoiding taxes by stashing profits in low-rate countries. G7 finance ministers meeting in London also endorsed proposals to make the world's biggest companies, including US-based tech giants, pay taxes in countries where they have lots of sales but no physical headquarters. Britain's Treasury chief, the meeting's host, said the deal would reform the global tax system to make it fit for the global digital age and crucially to make sure that it's fair so that the right companies pay the right tax in the right places. While US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said that the agreement provides tremendous momentum towards reaching a global deal that will end the race to the bottom in corporate taxation and ensure fairness for the middle class and working people in the US and around the world. Meanwhile, management at the St. Regis Hotel is on the hunt for more than 100 staff, it revealed this weekend. The new hotel in St. George's, which opened its doors last month, would also run a casino gaming academy starting on June 21st. Now, additional job opportunities are available in housekeeping, culinary arts, and food and beverage, as well as the St. Regis signature program of butler services. The resort held a career and interview fair in March. The resort's general manager said that due to the success of the hotel opening and high demand, they are once again able to offer exciting employment opportunities to those seeking a career at St. Regis. Now, for more information, just visit the Marriott Careers pages or register at bermudajobboard.bm. And Bermuda suffered a heavy defeat to Suriname in their World Cup qualifying Group B match on Friday evening. Bermuda found themselves down 2-0 after just 15 minutes and never recovered. Coach Kyle Lightbourne said that the team never got off to a good start and there won't be any excuses. There is a lot of work to be done. Bermuda closed out their group matches when they meet Cayman Islands at the IMG Academy complex in Florida tomorrow. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 81 and a low near 73 degrees. It will be generally sunny conditions with the chance of an early sprinkle. The chance of showers increases slightly on Tuesday. Temperatures will remain a little above the seasonal average. That's all for our daily hour news break. Let's head back over with Jamal and Michaela in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
All right. Thanks so much, Lee. I like the job thing. I got a post yesterday on WhatsApp that there are a lot of casino jobs. This is actually exciting. So thanks for that. I hope people take advantage of those opportunities, especially if they're out of work. So thanks for that. St. Regis, you said the careers website, was it?
Yeah, you could check it out on the Marriott Careers page or register at bermudajobboard.bm.
All right. Thanks again, Lee, and see you tomorrow. Cheers.
See you tomorrow.
All right. And don't forget, folks, we will be giving away a little one today for someone who got this weekend's trivia question right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our guest for the day. And Michaela, stick with us.
Hi, I'm Karen, a nurse at the old folks home. These long hours used to kill my feet until my hairdresser told me about a great place to buy a pair of clogs. Medical House. Finally, relief. They also carry uniforms in bright, bold colors. And not to mention the support stockings.
Karen, Miss Soltis bet her bet again.
Oh gosh, these days, I need all the support I can get.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke.
We're spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Welcome back to the Big Show. Michaela Ian, I'm Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications Lenders and our friends over at Channel 82, where you can stream this and many other locally produced shows. Without further ado, let's bring in our guests for the day. We have Cesa Edwards and Lloyd Holder from Soft Lending. Welcome both to the show. How are you?
Great. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm great as well, Jamal. Thank you for the opportunity to share this exciting new venture.
No problem. And I saw you enjoyed our intro music. You were back there dancing.
Oh, I really did. I didn't know anybody was looking at me. And I was like, oh, yeah. You know, we're talking about a soft landing, but we got to have fun doing it, too.
Absolutely.
Hey. This is true.
Lloyd, forgive Michaela for calling you ill before we went to the
Michaela, that was not you. That was all Jamal. He had me out on the field in a wheelchair.
I didn't mean it that way. But look, no, honestly, first off, congrats before we get into the conversation on new venture. When it comes to doing business nowadays, it's not something that many people are just doing. There's, a recession-driven pandemic, and there have been so many different people. We've had many on this show who have come up with different ideas and ways to make a way, rather than, some people just haven't had opportunities. Michaela is an example of someone who has done well with her business online. So that said, just speak to us a bit about, one, you've created this business, Soft Lending. How did you both come together, and where did the idea come from?
Sure. What I'll do first is I'll let Cesa speak to, what the business is, and then I'll speak to how it all came together for us. So Cesa, let's.
Alrighty.
Sure. So I don't know if people remember LP Gutteridge back in the day, but I started in 1991 when my son was a year old, and I was a secretary in the vacation rentals department at LP Gutteridge in their real estate division. So I've been doing it for about 30 years, and I've seen, clients and customers go through the door. I've seen the highs and the lows of the real estate industry. I took a bit of a sabbatical for a minute, but so basically the idea, which came from Lloyd, was that there was a need for people relocating to Bermuda to be able to fit in the community and to be able to do it easily, and hence the reason Soft Landing. But Lloyd could surely share the nuts and bolts and how the inception came about.
Sure. So last September, I had a friend of mine that was considering moving to Bermuda, and that entire process was very eye-opening for me, because it allowed me to see what it actually takes to get a person to get on the island. I think it's very easy to say, hey, I want to move to a new country, but no one really has the understanding of what else it's going to take. I found myself literally visiting properties and going around trying to find just the basic infrastructure that's going to be required for this person to be here. So that experience really got me thinking about, okay, we actually have a gap in Bermuda. I think the Bermuda government at that time was just about launching the one-year work visa or the one-year residency. And so we were expecting an influx of people. And so right away, we were able to see that this is something that's going to be needed in order to facilitate that actual kind of engagement and to allow people to get here quickly and comfortably. Because we realized that people are not moving to Bermuda to stand in lines. They're moving into Bermuda to be comfortable, to be able to participate in the country.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your backgrounds, both of you. I know, Cesa, you gave us a little bit, but.
Yeah, you took me back with that LP Gutteridge. I do remember.
Yeah.
So a little bit of my background. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Great. So started off about 30 years ago in real estate, doing hospitality. I've been in the reinsurance industry for just a short snippet, but basically in real estate encompassing rentals, sales, and was working for Coldwell Banker for almost 20 years. And then the last 11 years, I've been the real estate broker for Bermuda Longtail Real Estate, which is a home-owned.
Yes.
Yes. So that's basically been my background, is real estate and hospitality.
Exactly. Yeah. And my background is, you may know, is in technology. I studied information technology and business in university. I've worked in the private sector in reinsurance. I've worked in the healthcare in the technology space as well. What you probably didn't know is that I also have a background in transportation, and I'm a taxi owner. I've had a vehicle for more than 20 years. And so also I'm involved in transportation and hospitality as well.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. So you touched on it a little bit in the beginning, but how did you really know that there was a need for this kind of business? Because I know that the BDA is assisting with people in relocating, but how did you determine that there was a need for like all of the services that you offer?
Sure. I can say that part of it is just being in touch with people who are actually doing and looking to be in Bermuda. So like I said, I knew someone personally who is actually impacted by this desire to be in the country. But also that just kind of was the tip of the iceberg. I started to speak with other people and say, hey, listen, whenever you talk to someone about being in Bermuda, the old adage is Bermuda is open for business. And we've all heard that. But I think that's just the easy part. That's the first phase, to say it's easy to say we're open for business, but the actual nuances of what it takes to get here may not have had the amount of care and attention. And that's not intended to be a slight on any group or organization. It's just where the gap is. And so when we spoke to people who were moving to Bermuda, digital nomads, we spoke to returning residents, we spoken to people who long-term lived here and moved abroad and then come back. And the theme was consistent. There are so many things that no one tells you about or that you don't even think about that are needed. And let's be honest, moving is stressful. And so that's where soft landing is designed to actually take that stress away and to provide that one-stop shop for a person who is looking to relocate.
Right. No, I love that. So tell me about the kind of clients that you work with who need this kind of service. So it's obviously someone who, wants to come in and have the things done for them instead of, like you said, standing in the lines, right?
Sure.
So basically, the type of client that we are there and available to help are anyone who's looking for a soft landing to relocate to Bermuda. Just as Lloyd said earlier, there's so many small intricacies that are so important, such as I need a lease agreement to open up a bank. I need to go to the doctor before I can actually take that TCD test to get driving on the road. Those are the small intricacies that a company such as Soft Landing Relocation can assist with. And going back to your question about, which client are you looking for? We have programs or platforms that suit all types of client, whether they're the white glove client or just the nomad slipping into Bermuda for 6 or 12 months. We want to be there to help everyone. And basically, it's, as Lloyd said, we're there to absolutely support the BDA and the BTA. What happens is sometimes, not to say there's red tape, but sometimes there's logistics involved that sometimes people just want to see a face, and we'd be that initial face to welcome them to Bermuda. We spoke with a potential prospect the other day, and she said she didn't know an entity like this existed in Bermuda or anywhere for that matter. And so basically, we want to welcome them. We realize there's a lot of opportunity for Bermudian businesses, some small Bermudian businesses. This is an opportunity for people to become entrepreneurs or expand on their current entrepreneurship. We just feel that this makes sense.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Oh, go ahead, Lloyd. Sorry.
I was just going to expand on this one piece. I mean, listening to all of the shows so far. We're talking about a very Bermudian dynamic, and one of the things that, you know, the various formats or ideas of Bermuda. One of the things that we recognize is that we are all ambassadors, right?
Yes.
And I think that's our job as part of our function as a people. We are all ambassadors. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be on the front line, you know, doing specific roles, catering or anything of that nature. But just to be a Bermudian and being a representative that someone can make contact with. So if a person's calling or considering moving from overseas, and they can make contact with someone who's there and someone who knows, and even to what you were speaking earlier, someone who may even have an accent that I understand or don't understand, you know, then they can connect. I feel an authentic connection. And that is the most important piece that we see as driving what we're doing. An authentic Bermudian connection that allows people to want to come and to hit the ground running.
No, I like that a lot. And I like, Cesa, you brought up the point about how you need a doctor's appointment to get a license. I forgot about that. It's like the little things like that people would have no clue. Yeah. So how has the response been so far with soft landing?
Well, the response has been amazing. We called the BEDC at the onset, and we spoke with a very qualified gentleman there that said, hey, you guys are calling at the right time. We have a rocket pitch at Hamilton Princess soon. Lloyd and I were like, we're not trying to prepare and do a PowerPoint presentation for any rocket pitch. We're trying to launch a company called Soft Landing Relocation. They're like, you're doing the rocket pitch. So Lloyd and I and you know, some amazing people, we just got it going. We were in there. We were actually pitch pink, which is tourism. And for 2 people that did not even want to take part in the rocket pitch, we ended up winning.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we knew that it was, you know, we knew that this was a viable need on this island, and we're ready to just rock and roll.
Yeah, I think that the uptake is the potential is significant. The official launch of the company is today, actually, but we've already had lots of interest, lots of people who want to consider not only working with us, even all kinds of interest is coming our direction right now. So we're really excited about what the possibilities are.
That's amazing. So tell us what you hope to accomplish with soft landing, overall, long-term, short-term.
Okay, so the long-term goal is to help Bermuda to recover from our economic crisis. Right. We understand that there are various nuances related to how a country works, how an economy runs, all of the above. And we want to do our part to make that happen. If Bermuda is truly open for business, if Bermuda is truly open and wanting people to come here, to move here, to do businesses, to set up here, to visit here, all of the above, this goes beyond tourism. It's about providing an ecosystem for everyone to be able to thrive. First order of business is to get people on the plane and into the country. Then they can fall in love with being here. And if we can make that transition to Bermuda as quick and seamless as possible, then that individual will have a much greater chance of actually looking to stay. We have a few core values that we stand by. You know, we call it our 3 C's. It's cost, it's convenience, and community. And that community element is something that we cannot understate. You know, I think you can find a relocation company. The concept of relocation company is not new, or concierge is not new. But the community aspect that we're trying to establish is what we believe is going to be the lifeblood of not just our company, but of the country. So that if a person is coming and we're allowing this person to hit the ground running and to get on with the things that they want to do, and we're going to establish opportunities for them to actually connect with various local entities. And we have some really great partners that we're looking to do some exciting initiatives with in the coming months, actually. And we can connect, provide this opportunity to them for them to connect, so that if a person comes from location A and another person comes from location B, and I didn't know him from her or anything of the sort, but I'm on the island and I've made a connection, I've made a friend, and hey, maybe we want to do business here. And why go anywhere else? Because we can start up a company in Bermuda. We can start doing amazing things here. And that has a knock-on effect to everyone in the country, right? So that's more bums and seats at the restaurants. That's more people who are in and around various businesses. But most importantly, what soft landing wants to do is to provide an opportunity for what we consider the local economy to thrive as well. So I think Cesa spoke about, when a person's asking questions like, well, where do I go to get a haircut? Okay, where can I buy a fish sandwich? All of these types of things that you might get sometimes from a tourism authority, but also you're going to get it now from a trusted local source that actually is going to tell you, this is what's real, right? And also, we're going to connect you with that local plumber. We're going to connect you with that local electrician. We're going to connect you with the local ecosystem that allows you to feel a part of the country, as opposed to being almost feeling like an expatriate in another country.
Right. No, I like this a lot because there are so many people, myself included, who happily will pay for people to do these things to make it easier for me. And so whether it's, like you said, Cesa, whether it's the white glove client or the digital nomad, this is an incredible offering that people are obviously going to love.
Well, it's funny, Michaela, because we originally set out for new residents, that includes work permit holders and digital nomads. Recently, we've had actually prospective visitors coming to the island who just want an authentic experience. We've even had a once resident who's coming back to Bermuda, Bermudian, who said, I've been away for decades and coming back, and I think a company like yours would be able to help me. So it's even locals coming back to the island who would love, some sort of service such as this, that, because things have changed in Bermuda in terms of settling back in Bermuda in 10, 20, 30, 40 years. So it just seems like the business model just continues to expand.
I want to, it's an amazing concept. We obviously have people here. Rosalind Famous, this is a great business concept. Hi, Cesa. You've got fans out there. But, and real quickly, audience, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to share. I'll try to get through as many as possible. We are almost out of time. But I guess I want to come from the other side, because there is that other side where, just last week, I think it was the G7 speaking about, this 15% tax. And obviously, the president of the United States recently mentioned Bermuda in his address. I don't think it was a State of the Union. It was an address. So the threat of businesses and people leaving Bermuda for different spaces. Some people would say, man, you're brave to enter this space. But are you of the mindset that, we've been hearing this for years. We can't wait to do something that we need to fill because of what may happen. What are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, it's a valid point, Jamal. I think that these various external pressures exist, and they have existed for numbers of years, and they will continue. And the reality is, it's possible that we could be negatively impacted by such a legislative change. But the fact for us is, we still must look to get and encourage people to look to Bermuda as a place to be, to do business, for tourism. Whether or not the G7 make this decision is not going to impact whether or not we still want to have people to come and visit, and it's not going to change whether or not we want people to come and live here, right? So the structure is in our minds is sustainable. Bermuda has to find ways, to encourage people to get back here, right? We are all well aware of our aging demographics. We are well aware of the need to be able to find a way to inject into our economy. I think at worst case, we would have to figure out, maybe collectively working even in conjunction with government, would have to figure out a new way or a new service offering. But ultimately, that service offering is still going to want us to encourage people to come and be here.
Yeah, indeed. No, good answer. Did you want to add anything to that, Cesa?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge question because the economic impact for Bermuda is huge. Increased economic growth cannot be underestimated. And you were saying, what happens if people left? Well, decreased economic growth cannot be underestimated.
It's catastrophic.
You know, we feel that, as Lloyd was saying, you know, with a low birth rate and aging population, this income generated through immigration, it helps us. It helps with things like social care, tax revenues, government spending. I think if we lost people, it would definitely water the cultural diversity. Having people here on properly managed immigration is needed. You know, I've heard of many young Bermudians going to university off the island, and it's a culture shock. Had they known, you know, or had been exposed to different cultures through immigration, then it wouldn't be so, you know, so challenging, in my opinion.
Yeah. I just want to add, and I know I have a lot of comments. I'll try to get through them as we're out of time, but we did bring them in a bit late, so I just want to make sure we get as much out of these folks, great folks, soft landing as possible. But I hate moving, but I've had to move a lot of times. I've moved probably I'm in South Florida now, so this is probably my 6th state I've lived in.
Wow.
If I had the services that you guys offered, I probably wouldn't move as much. And that's real, because getting used to certain places and spaces, it's not just the moving part of like helping, you know, with finding a doctor, for instance, finding a doctor. That to me is probably, I came up in a family where I had an earache, I went to a doctor. So finding a doctor when you go to a certain place, certain things like that. And I bring this up because I really want people to understand the importance of the concept that you guys have. Like it's really, it can't be overstated enough. So congratulations on it. I'm going to go to some comments now. Bobby saying, oh boy, Bobby, you got a lot you're covering. Bobby Singh says, when I first moved to Bermuda 8 years ago, it was very daunting. From all of the applications, medical, financial, and housing, a service like this would have come in very handy. Fortunately, I'm outgoing and was able to assimilate quickly. Well, I'm not as outgoing as Bobby, obviously. Primarily through Twitter and tweeting to other Bermudians, but many that relocate here need support and guidance throughout the transition. Soft landing will come in handy. It's interesting because I hadn't seen her comment, but literally medical, like doctor for me. You know, simple things like that. Go ahead, Cesa.
Well, speaking of medical, we were speaking with a prospective client the other day, and you know, she's not only filled out the Nomad application and coming with her husband and child, but they, you know, different families have different journeys that they're going through. Some are medical, some are emotional, some are mental, you know, and she was practically in tears. She visited the BTA site. She looked at the BDA. She's someone who's thinking about opening up a business on the island. And, you know, she was practically in tears. She had goosebumps. She was sharing with us. She said, I feel like I'm speaking to my family who's welcoming me home.
That's right.
And that made us feel like, you know what, this is needed.
Absolutely.
Not only here, but globally.
Globally, yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's moving is rough, moving is tough, and wherever you're going to land, it needs to be worth your while, right? It has to be worth your while, and that's the most important thing that we see. You're not here. People are not wanting to move to do all of those things that you mentioned, Jamal. They want to be able to get down. And in Bermuda, we have an amazing place. What an amazing place to be. What an amazing climate. What amazing people. An amazing culture. Let the people have the opportunity to get involved and immersed into that, and to focus on or their business or day job, whatever they're going to do. But allow them to get focused into that, as opposed to dealing with some of the other red tape and things that will cause, you know, stress and anxiety.
Indeed. Let's go through a few more comments before we let you go. We have Leah Dean says a potential shift in legislation makes our tourism product and openness to trying new things even more important.
Yeah.
We have to reinvent continuously. Couldn't agree more with you. Janelle Pereira Edness, yes, when I first went to school in Canada, I spent a lot of unnecessary money not knowing the ins and outs of the city. Look, before you go, where can people learn more? Because this is a service even, I think, Bermudians, like you said, Bermudians who have been overseas for a long time can benefit from, and Bermudians who may have someone they know moving to Bermuda. I remember when I was an undergrad, I met a guy who went Bryant University, also in Rhode Island where I was, and he was an accountant, and I think he relocated to work for either KPMG or Deloitte, and I honestly could not help him on the level he needed. I put him in touch with my mom, who then put him in touch with a friend of mine's sister who was also an accountant. So where can people find more information and get in contact with you all?
Absolutely. You can look at our website, which is www.softlanding.bm. That's softlanding, one word, .bm. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram at Soft Landing Relocation, Soft Landing Relocation Bermuda. Did I miss any, Cesa? Can't remember if I got that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a Bermudian business entrepreneur who feels like Soft Landing Relocation could use your services, then you can email that information to info@softlanding.bm. That's info@softlanding.bm. If you want to call, the local number is 535-2769, and that's for anyone in human resources, anyone who knows someone who's coming to Bermuda shortly. We can help you with that. Obviously, if somebody's looking long distance, it's +1 441 535-2769, and that's WhatsApp as well.
So really quickly, I wanted to mention this, Jamal, as well. We are working in conjunction with HR companies, right? So lots of businesses that are established in Bermuda already have someone who's on the ground trying to figure out all these components of getting their new hire situated. I can tell you quite confidently that that's not what they want to do.
Yeah.
So if you're in HR and you're a part of an organization here, we are here to help you. And so we'll be more than willing to speak with you in that regard. We also have on our website the ability to book consultation sessions with us. I would strongly encourage someone to book. It's 15 minutes consultation. You can then take your time to answer any questions. We'll take the time to answer any questions that you may have and get the ball rolling.
All right. Lloyd Holder, Cesa Edwards, Soft Landing. Thank you for having this conversation. I'm a fan. I know Chaos is a fan. The audience is a fan.
Thank you.
Reach out to us if there's anything else we can do to assist with you, but all the best. I know you all will do well. It's a great concept. Thank you for coming.
Thank
you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All righty. Chaos, we could have used Soft Landing for you coming in and stopping on and joining the show last week.
Telling you, they would have hooked me up.
You know what I'm saying? No, Leanna could have definitely used them. She'd have had a mug,
She would have had a mug last Tuesday.
If you enjoyed that conversation with Cesa and Lloyd, please make sure you give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Don't go anywhere. We have a mug to give away, and the winner has actually been commenting during this show. So don't go anywhere. We have that mug. We have the Daily Plate, and the Chaos is going to let you go off with the Daily Inspiration. Make you feel good about yourself. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
I have my three children, a 27-year-old and an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. I have to balance it out. I actually even stopped working Monday to Wednesday just so that I can put in time for the products and I put in time for my family. Because for me, my family comes first over anything. I know I have to run my business so that we can eat and everything, but my children come first. I let them even play a role when I'm making my products. Come on, get up. You can come help me mix it. Come help me put the label on it. So when we talk about inspiring your daughter or your children, I make my children get up there and see what it takes to run a business. Come on, Surrey. This brand, Surrey Shea & Co., is named after you. So you need to help me you're gonna come, you can do this, put the labels on for me. You can do it. Even my little 4-year-old, I had him do it. Mommy, let me help. So I just let them help, and it teaches them the way.
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's Michaela and I'm Jamal Hartman. Thanks again to Lloyd and Cesa from Soft Lending. Definitely an interesting concept and something I could have definitely used with all the moves I've made in my life. But it is, well, first, before we get to the daily play, we have a winner from this week's weekend's question was, which of the Daily Hour crew did not yet have a mug at that time? The answer was Leanna, and so today's winner would be Rosalind Famous. She won the mug and she'll get a $25 gift voucher from one of our sponsors. So congrats to Rosalind. Yes, Rosalind, some love. So Leanna was it. I do feel so bad. If you'd like to purchase a mug, just send an email to engage@thedailyhour.com. So that's engage@thedailyhour.com. All right. So Kales, here it is. Daily play.
Okay.
So guessing a famous quote. I think I might give it away a bit. Here we go. 2 months ago, I had a nice apartment in Chicago. I had a good job. I had a son. When something happened to the Negroes in the South, I said, that's their business, not mine. Now I know how wrong I was. The murder of my son has shown me that what happens to any of us, anywhere in the world, had better be the business of us all. End quote.
I look like a deer in headlights because
I finally stumped you, huh?
I don't have a clue.
All right. So the biggest hint is, wow, Cherie got it.
I meant to, yeah, okay, yeah, that's
Wow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Amy Till Mobley, it was. Rosalind Famous got it as well. So yeah, she it's an important quote because
Absolutely.
we tend to turn a blind eye to things that we don't think impact us.
Yep. Agreed.
You know? So that is the quote for the day. Any inspiration? Give us some daily inspiration. We need some inspiration.
I do, yes. All right. So this is from Brian Tracy. Make your life a masterpiece. Imagine no limitations on what you can be, have, or do.
I love that one. I love that one. Kales, any final thoughts on today's show before we head out?
Have a good day, people. It's Monday. It's beautiful weather. Let's not complain. Let's show up. Let's do the things we got to do and do it with gusto. You're in charge of your life. Do what you want to do. Make it right.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks again to our partners, Medical House One Communications and Lenders, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Michaela and I'm Jamal Hartman, my friends. Make it a great day. Peace.